Hey everyone, Anne here, and I'm finally back with another Omocha review, this time with the Armin Arlert Colossal Titan pop-up parade. Now this is the L size, which is way bigger than your standard 7-inch tall pop-up parade. Taking a look at it though, it's basically just a cardboard box, which is a bit of a downgrade considering that you usually get to see the figure first. Same packaging, you're sandwiched between two sheets of plastic and a plastic sheet to protect the figure itself from scratches. You also get the usual stand, virtually the same as a normal sized pop-up parade stand, but it also comes with the same issues, unfortunately, and that is the fit between the figure's pegs underneath the feet and the holes left for it in the stand itself. A lot of the time they can be ill-fitting. This was not as bad as my Nobara Kugisaki experience. You may want to check that out. I did, however, manage to get it to fit very snugly, very surprisingly stable, and it didn't wobble like Nobara did in the past. Looking pretty good actually, this Colossal Titan standing at around 10 inches tall. Again, significantly bigger. We got the Eren figure previously, which crouches at about 6 inches. Better comparison is of course your standard 7-inch pop-up parade like Chika Fujiwara here. You'll notice, however, that the price also jumps significantly. The Colossal Titan pop-up parade size L is actually double the price of your regularly sized pop-up parade. That may seem like quite a jump considering it's not a double in size or anything, but in terms of size, it is actually competing with more premium lines like Kotobukiya's ART FX J. We have the Levi Ackerman figure here. A pop-up parade L is little more than half the price of what a normal ART FX J figure is, and while it isn't as elaborate or as detailed, you have to admit in terms of size, it is great value for money. But that's enough about the size. Let's take a look at the figure itself. The pose is very simple, looking like the Colossal Titan's just walking. You get a lot of detail from all the different angles, and you do benefit from positioning it in different ways, however you're gonna display it. The details are great, especially when you look close up. The blue of Armin's eyes really jump out at you here, and sculpt-wise, they did a lot to try to make it look different from the first Colossal Titan that we saw. And they definitely put a lot of care into the way that they sculpted Armin as well. You can actually see into this hole over here. You can see Armin's spine underneath his skull. It's a very cool touch, and you can actually appreciate it from different angles, especially from the side over here. And this idea of hollowness is very novel because they could have just decided not to do this at all. But they decide to do it again with his ribs. The chest cavity of this Colossal Titan is completely hollow. You can completely appreciate it from so many different angles. They make sure not to hide it. They make sure it's a highlight. You can even look inside and see it's meant to look like bone. And you know, with the sculpt and the paint job combined, the textures just look so muscly and sinewy. They do such a great job at bringing out the kind of grotesque look that Titans have. So if you're curious, there is no give on the ribs, but the arms do have give. They're easily the most fragile part of the figure. You ought to pay attention to that when you're moving it around. There is a lot of detail in the fingers as well. I appreciate that. And the lines on the body are actually very well thought as well to make it look very fluid. They paid a lot of attention to muscles. It almost feels like you're looking at one of those muscle system models in science or lab classes. I get that most obviously when you're looking at the back and you see how all the muscles are formed there. It's actually really very cool, and there's a lot to appreciate the longer that you look. The feet and legs are very different. They do give more of the impression of bone rather than sinew. They're very detailed, especially with the shading and everything there. Again, so much praise for whoever did the paint job. I like that it isn't just a solid color. They really did a lot of shading on the bony bits of the figure as well as the muscle to make sure it doesn't look flat and boring. Despite not having much to work with in terms of color, they really did a lot to make the textures pop out, especially when you take a closer look in. So despite the ill fit on the stand, I would say that this Pop-Up Parade L is definitely worth the huge jump in price from the regularly priced Pop-Up Parades. This Colossal Titan figure is well detailed, it's stable, and it's very accurate to the show in terms of proportion as well. I had a very good feeling about this Papa Parade L as soon as it was announced, and I'm glad I was right because Armin is my favorite character, hands down, in Attack on Titan, and this was the perfect way to commemorate the series ending. I totally recommend that you get this figure, and if you found this review even remotely helpful, I do hope that you can leave us a like, and if you want to see more, please subscribe to Omocha Reviews. It would mean the world to us. Anyway, this is Anne, and until next time, goodbye.